Hello fellow writers! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle Winkler and I'm an indie author in training. On this channel you can expect to find videos basically about my self-publishing journey. I am a debut author. My first novel, Dust on the Altar, is coming out this October 30th. And so throughout this process I will be telling you some of the mistakes I've made, so hopefully you don't have to make them too. And also just about the lessons learned. And today we're going to be talking about cover designers, as you can tell by the title. So stick around. I have this nice little animation coming up. Take a breath, relax, enjoy it, and when I come back, we will dig right in. This is part 5 in my indie author in training series. I will have a link to the playlist below if you missed any of them. So today's step, cover designers. Just like the editor, you want to hire someone professional because your book has to stand out amongst all the other covers that are out there. Go on to urban fantasy or whatever niche you're in and look at the covers there. Some of them are going to be traditionally published, others will be self-published. You can get away without hiring a professional, but you're not going to be able to compete. You're not going to get the sales you want because people are going to look at the cover and go, ooh, and pass you right by without even finding anything out about it. So, now that I've explained why you need a cover designer, where do you find one? I got mine through readsy.com, same place I got my editor. They have all kinds of different professionals having to do with publishing a book. So I definitely recommend you checking them out. So there are a few reasons you wouldn't need to hire a professional cover designer. For instance, if you just want to publish a book for yourself and your friends, some people do that. Also, if you're putting it out for free, like on Wattpad or something, you don't want to give away a book for free and have spent hundreds of dollars on a cover. That's not really necessary, so that would be a reason. Also, if you just want a placeholder or something to look at for inspiration, that would be a reason you wouldn't need a cover designer. And also if you're traditionally publishing, or even if you're thinking about going traditional, if you're traditionally publishing, the publisher is responsible for hiring the cover designer. You don't have to worry about that at all. It's one of those expenses you don't have to pay for. If you're definitely going, don't get one. If you're considering going traditional, you're not sure if you want to self-publish, just wait on the cover designer till you've made that decision. So, okay, I can't take this heat anymore. I have to put my hair up. Oh, so much better. Stay. Okay. You don't want to go just for the cheapest person you can find. You want to look at your budget and figure out how much money you're willing to spend on that. And I have no idea what to tell you about price ranges because you can get them from free to thousands of dollars. So you just need to do your homework on price. A couple things that will affect the price is how experienced the designer is. If they've never designed something before, this is their first couple ones, they're going to charge a little less. If they have worked in the business before, if they are a cover designer, then look at their previous cover and compare them to what you see selling on Amazon or in your bookstore or wherever. Does it match the same kind of quality? And a couple notes on quality. I put a tweet out on I put it to tweet. I asked on Twitter what questions you wanted me answered for this video, and T.A. Hernandez suggested topography. I've seen too many otherwise great covers that end up looking cheap and low quality because of poor font and typography choices. So I don't really know a lot about topography, but I know what I like and what I don't like. For instance, readability. Oh my gosh, it's a huge pet peeve of mine if I cannot understand the text on the cover of the book. And there's several things that go into that. If it's a light text on a light background or dark text on a dark background, they blend in and it's hard to see where the edges are. Also, swirly fonts. I love swirly fonts. Everyone loves the swirls. But there's a point where it becomes too much and you can't read it. Also genre, you want it to be specific to your genre. If you're writing sci-fi, you're not gonna have a big swirly text. If you're writing fantasy or romance, you're not gonna have a straight-edged, hard text. You need to go with the genre. So, in speaking about pricing. There are a few things you want to keep in mind when looking at pricing. You want to look at what kind of extras do they include, like images for marketing, or do they actually do bookmarks for you? Also, what does their fee include as far as licensing? Because if they're hand drawing and it's all their own hand drawing, obviously you don't have to worry about licensing. But if they're using any kind of images off the internet, they need to have a professional license done. How many images can you run? Like mine, I think is 250,000. So that means I can put out 250,000 books with that licensed image. Another thing to consider in cost is how many formats they're gonna do. So if you just wanna do an ebook and you know that's the only thing you wanna do, then that's fine just hiring them just to do your ebook. But if you're considering doing paperbacks and hardbacks and all that other kind of stuff, you might want to think about getting a package deal where they will give you all the different formats for one price instead of piecing them all out individually. It'll save you a lot of money. And yes, you do need individual images. If you're thinking you can just take one and Photoshop it yourself, you could, but again, we're back to quality. You need someone who knows what they're doing. Ebooks are just going to be a simple JPEG like this. Paperbacks are going to be the same kind of JPEG image, but then also you're going to have the spine and the back. So it's going to be a whole image like this. And then hardcovers are a different size usually than paperbacks. Besides that, if you want to do a jacket, it's going to be even bigger because you have this front flappy piece and this back flappy piece. I don't know what they're called. But that's going to be an even bigger image, and it helps if the person who designed the cover does it, because they can take that background image and kind of blend it. I don't know if you can see that. It blend it into the flap. Does that make sense? I don't know. I tried doing just a solid color on this edge and it didn't look very professional, so that's my recommendation. Forgot audiobooks because I'm not doing an audiobook right now. Audiobooks are basically a whole other thing because they're square, I think. I know zero about audiobooks, but it's something to consider. Audiobooks are huge. They're just kind of the booming format right now, and everyone likes to use them because they can go do laundry or drive or whatever and listen to their books. So it's something to consider. Hello, future me here. I was editing this and I realized I forgot something. So rather than shoot the whole thing all over again, for the 5th time, I'm going to just tell you these 2 quick things that I forgot. First, I would suggest you ask for the original files of the cover when he's all done. What I'm talking about is like if they used Photoshop, there's different layers. Like a background may be a layer, there may be a texture, which is a separate layer, the text is another layer, it goes on and on and on. So if you get those files, or at least get like the background and maybe something else separate, that can help you if you do your own promotional images and marketing images, because you can separate those out. Ask for the original files and also ask for the text separately, because they don't have to send you the actual text files, but ask for the name of the text, because you can always go online and look it up, and a commercial license for using that text is actually not as expensive as I thought it might be. So that's something to check out too, especially if it's a very decorative font. That's it, I just wanted to mention those 2. Okay, back to the video. Another thing with the formats that I found out kind of late is that different publishing platforms require different templates. And I'll be going over that in a later video. But basically the template for, say, Amazon for a paperback is going to be different than the template for Ingram Spark for a paperback. And so when talking to your cover designer about different formats, I would also bring up the different platforms. Do they know the different templates? Can they give you the different images for each platform? Or if, like with mine, I didn't even think of it when I hired him, and so later I went back and asked if he would adjust them to the template that I sent him, which he did, no problem. Make sure you ask about how many changes you can make and what the time limit is on that. Maybe they only want to allow changes until the book's published, or maybe it's unlimited. 2 years down the road, you have 2 other books in your series and you want to, adjust the colors so they match or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's something also to consider. So you want to also ask about turnaround time. And this kind of goes into communication. I'm going to get into red flags in a second, but you need to ask for turnaround time, because if you're expecting it in 2 weeks and they take 2 months, you're going to be all frustrated. They're not going to understand why you're mad. So make sure that when you're hiring a designer that you do talk about, okay, how long does it usually take for you to not only finish the project, but get back to me with changes. So let's get into red flags since I'm on the subject. So Chris asked me about vetting designers. What should I look for and what are some red flags to stay away from? Well, we've gone over a lot of that already, but specific red flags, the biggest one is not wanting to sign a contract. You need, if you're hiring, this is just my opinion, but if you're hiring anyone where they're gonna give you a service or a product and you're gonna pay them, you need a contract. You need a contract because it protects you and it also protects them. If problems arise, you have something to refer to. On Reezy.com, they have its system set up where when you hire someone, you've already told them all about your book. They give you a quote with how much they'll charge and what the time frame is, all that kind of stuff. And then you can agree to it, make changes if you want before you agree to it. And it's all in writing on their system. So if there is any problem down the road, they will mediate it for you. If you're not going through a company like that, you definitely want to tell them that you'd like it in writing. If they refuse to sign a contract, I would run from them. It's bad juju, just don't. That's the only real red flag I can think of. There's a few orange flags. Things like if they've never worked in your genre before, if they don't have a lot of good reviews, things that are kind of common sense to think about. The cover designer I got, I am thrilled with. I feel so lucky that he was my first cover designer. His name's Jake Clark. I'm going to link his Reezy profile in the description so you can go check out his work. He was timely, he got back to me right away with things. It was amazing. I gave him kind of a general idea for my cover. I wanted a burnt down old house. I wanted it to be kind of stormy, and I wanted something to do with the altar, but I couldn't figure out how to get those two together. And so I told him that, and I told him a description of the altar, a little excerpt from my book, and I basically just told him that, and he came back to me with what I thought was the perfect image. It blew me away. And there was only minor adjusting from there, and I opened that file when he first sent it to me, and I cried. I don't cry very often, but I think it was seeing my name under my title on a beautiful cover image. It made it real. I was like, okay, this is happening. I'm gonna be an author. And okay, I'm going on about it. Anyway, it blew me away. I think that's everything. If you think I missed anything that you want to know about, let me know in the comments. If I can't just reply there because it takes too long, I'll make a video on it. If you enjoyed this video, could you please click like? Thank you. I am trying to get my channel growing, and I know I haven't posted in a long time, but I am going to be posting regularly now. 2 videos a week. Don't know how I'm going to manage that, but I am. Until at least through my publishing date. October 30th of this year, I will be having a live stream right here on this channel, which I'm really excited for, because I'm going to be giving away a few prizes. So if you want to win a signed hardcover, pre-order my book, link in the description for whichever format you do, and fill out the form. That link is also in the description. Once you fill out the form, I'll enter your name into the drawing, and come join me at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll see if you won. That's it for today on this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.